Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Al Show.
For take two because the first one, the volume didn't record, and I was too mad to make another video right after it. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Bears draft picks as they hold the number one pick, Jalen Carter, that moron, the Super Bowl field, IU, and Purdue. Oh, and Aaron Rodgers. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about the Bears draft. So, we're going to do a hypothetical here before Jalen Carter and what the dumb thing he did. So, before we knew that evidence, I was thinking the Bears would trade down to the Texans to number 2 and go get the Texans' second round and third round pick. And then they would go trade to the Colts to go get the fourth pick and get their second, third round pick. So they're technically getting from their first pick, they would still go get Jalen Carter, get the same person, and still go get a two more second round and two more third round picks to upgrade their O line, D line, offensive weapons, whatever they needed. So that's what I thought they were going to do with that. And then I figured that the Texans would go get Bryce Young with their number one pick. I don't think Fields besides, and he knows he's like dude's combine to call for. Same thing with they're small guys, but they'll still be the one in my opinion. And then, well, I guess not the two pick anymore. And then you have Will Levis. I think he's going to go probably the Colts. Either the Colts or Carolina trade up and go get him. One of those things. And then next I'm going to talk about Jalen Carter. He, so, everybody should know by now, but he got in trouble because he was driving 104 drag racing against his teammate and a trainer for Georgia after they won the championship. Stacks in the league last year. And when you do that, your safeties and your back people can't do anything about that. So I think they're going to do that. The only other thing I think they might do is they're just going to keep on trading down. Like they're going to go get that second, go down to the fourth, and then take that fourth, trade to Carolina, go down more, trade it to anybody. Just keep on trading down, get as much picks as possible, and then go get more of people. But I think they're going to stay at the second pick because they'd rather have an. I mean, there's no point in getting more when you need elite. Like you can go get as many mediocre defensive linemen, offensive linemen, but that doesn't do anything. You already have mediocre to bad D and offensive linemen. You need elite offense and defensive linemen. So I think that's what they're going to do. Next, I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl field. So there was an article that just came out saying that the Super Bowl field was overwatered this year. You spent 2 years, millions of dollars to hold a Super Bowl in Arizona, to have an amazing field, amazing grass field, which is not common, just to overwater it and for everybody to slip on it, and to have players say that this was the worst field that they've ever played on in their careers. That's just pathetic. Like you should be held to a higher standard and have a better field. Like the, I mean, slipping like Tucker or Bucker was slipping on his kickoffs, which in the end it didn't make a huge difference, but it still affected probably a lot of plays. Next, I'm gonna talk about IU and Purdue. Purdue pulled out close good because they were pathetic. They need to win this game against Illinois this weekend, and then they need to win the Big Ten to prove that they're still a dominant team. If they would have lost to Wisconsin, there's no way that in March Madness they get a 1 or 2 seed. Now, if they win the Big Ten, they're for sure getting a 1 seed. If they lose, they'll probably get a 2 seed, I'd imagine. But hopefully they can pull it out. Because as of right now, there'll probably be a 4-way tie, I think. I'm pretty sure it's a 4 or 3-way tie. If IU beats Michigan, Maryland loses, and then wins the game that they played yesterday. I don't know if they did. And then loses on the weekend. And then what was the other team? I know Michigan lost, so I don't think about them. But and Northwestern. So if they win the game this weekend, then there'll be a tie between them, and they'll have to go up against to see who plays Purdue in the Big Ten. But Purdue needs to get their act together. Okay, and then IU lost to Iowa, 90-68. They put all their effort into that Purdue game. You can't convince me otherwise. They scored 68 points, which isn't a terrible game, but they gave up 90. Where's the defense? Iowa played pretty good defense. I mean, they were destroying IU that entire game, up by 20 points the entire game. And they kept Jackson Davis. He still had low point, he still had 20 some points, so an average game. But they kept Hood Schifino to only 10 or 8. Their highest scorer was number 5. His name. He played, but he's a bench player, and that's what Purdue needed to do. They need to put a zone on, like what I. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers said he's seeing the light. He's out of the darkness, and he has said that he's going to make up his decision before free agency ends. So I think he is going to make his decision this Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show and say that he's going to go to the Raiders. I mean, by now or whenever he does, his team is going to know, but nobody else is going to know until he comes public about it on the Pat McAfee show. And he's going to say he's going to the Raiders to reunite with Davante Adams. And if he does that, finally the Bears will stop being plagued by Aaron Rodgers. Won't have to play him at all. Actually, yeah, they will have to play because they're in their season next year, which is not good. But at least he'll only have to play him once instead. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go there, and the Raiders will finally get their success that they were thinking they would get last year when going to get Davante Adams. Well, thank you. And make sure that you join the Fantasy Baseball League. I'll put a link to it in the description. Thank you.